Congratulations, you are the victim of my very first clickbait thumbnail. Welcome to my channel. Yo, what's up guys, Trevor here, and today we're going to talk about the first Descendant. And honestly, I have a lot of good things to say, but I also have a lot of bad things to say. Well, not really bad, it's just like the game doesn't do things the way I thought, it would do things for me. And that's fine, it's just my opinion. And my opinion shouldn't be the end all be all of things when it comes down to it, because I am one person and I am very hard to please. But let's go ahead and get into the first Descendant. The guys know the beta, blah 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 blah. You guys know the beta was this past week, and I've been playing it since. I haven't been playing it nonstop because I do have other commitments to attend to that I can't speak about. But yeah, so I've been playing it and I leveled up the main. I forgot who was my main. I think Ajax was my main, up to 17, I believe, and then I got Bunny, and I wanted to use Bunny until I could unlock the poison chicken. I forgot her name because I really wanted to play her, and that's been my entire goal this whole time. But then my other commitment started up, and I was like, I don't know if I can actually focus on this and do this at the same time. So I think I'll play more of the first Descendant when it comes out. But for now, what I wanted to say about what I've experienced so far is that I feel like the game has no identity for itself. And of course, I've said this to a friend of mine in his Discord, and people were opposing me on that because they said, every game is kind of going to be the same game, and not many games have a unique identifier. But to battle that, every looter shooter that's come out recently has had their own unique identifier. Be it from Borderlands being, of course, one of the beginning looter shooters, to Warframe being one of the first free-to-play looter shooters with fast movement, fast combat, and intertwining the sci-fi genre into that, and then Destiny coming out and being the first looter shooter to put pretty much an open world perspective on that, while adding in raids and, of course, the most hated expansion packs, the DLCs that everyone hates. And then, of course, there are other things that, other looter shooters have bought out, like ones that we've lost in the past. Anthem tried to do flying, and we really wanted Anthem to work, but EA and YouTubers at the time just didn't want that to happen. So, yeah, but all these other games had unique identifiers, and the first Descendant to me does not have a unique identifier, because I don't see anything in it that every other looter shooter has done so far. Well, of course the zipline is a thing, but the zipline really feels scuffed. There's nothing in it that makes it feel unique to me personally. Maybe you guys, this is your first looter shooter, and this is your first time experiencing a free-to-play looter shooter for whatever reason, even though Warframe's been out for 10 years now plus. This first Descending game, it's been a rough thing for me to say that I want to focus on as one of my main games, because I do have a lot of games I'll be playing in the next few months and making videos for. And so, like, when it comes to this game, I'm like, I see this being a game I play in the background when I have friends that want to play, but if they're not playing, I don't see myself playing it constantly. And that's because, like I said, there's no unique identifier that makes it fun for me. And it just doesn't, like, it has skills like Warframe, it has skills like Destiny, it has raids, it has, different guns and different stuff, and the grinding in this game is going to be monumental if people don't realize that already. I'm pretty sure I've seen the way that they're going to try to monetize a lot of things in this game, aside from just the characters and the weapons. I feel like I know how they're going to try to monetize a lot of things in this game. Inventory being one of the main things, because the inventory that you get is abysmal. But it just has nothing unique about it for me that makes me want to play it more than any other game that's already out there. I mean, stories are one in a many. Like, you'll get a good story every once in a while. Warframe has a really good story. Like, I played Warframe mostly because of the story at one point. And then from there, it kind of just went down to not playing Warframe anymore because it took too long for them to come up with the story, which understandably it takes a long time to come up, especially with how in depth their story is. I still do follow the story for Warframe, but the first Descendant story does not really captivate me, to be honest, because like these all pop, like one of my main problems is the art system that they're using for their powers is supposed to be, you know, this thing that's helping them fight back this invasive force, this invasive species of evil per se, and yet the skills don't feel like they actually do much. Like Bunny's skills, it's almost negligible the amount of damage she does, and maybe it's because I'm not built up to the point where I'm like maxed out and running through content or whatever. But I feel like it's just not, it doesn't represent the amount of power that they say. And this is a beta, so I probably shouldn't be putting that much thought into it. Maybe it'll change going forward. They might have to do scaling and adjusting in the next few tests if they have more tests. But it does feel like there is a lot to be valued when it comes to what's going to happen in the game's future. And it, like, even the open world in this game doesn't really seem much different to what happens in Warframe, because it's kind of just doing the same thing in Warframe's open world. Now, their map of open world is actually really big compared to Warframe, but even then it's still separated into separate kind of hub spaces, to where you have to travel from spot to spot to get to the next spot, whereas Warframe is just one big open world zone. And you travel from spot to spot to do missions, and it's just that one zone instead of being multiple miniature zones. And it's not, once again, it's not something that's uniquely different. It's just something that's there, because Destiny does the same thing this game does in a sense. So I honestly don't have bad things to say aside from that. It's just not unique in itself. The enemies are pretty reactive. They will put the hurt on you. They're not just like sandbags that sit there and get smacked around. They aren't bullet bags that just sit there and take shots and don't die. Like, they don't have horrible aiming. They will put you in the dirt if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, so I do have one extra con. I do, because this is one thing I was kind of annoyed with. There is no way to actually evade shots or take cover, and that was one of my biggest cons about it, is that that I remember from my first beta, when I first played the first beta, that there's no way to evade like shots or take cover behind anything, because you are taking multiple shots continuously from many different enemies. And like, there's one point where I get frozen by one of the enemies that are able to freeze, and I'm just sitting there taking shots, and I'm like, man, I wish there was somewhere I can hide to, like, you know, recover my shield instead of just running away from the objective that I have to protect. And at this point, this is actually the scene right here where like they were about to almost finish this objective off, and I think I ended up lucking out with the timer because I would have lost this normally. Like, this shouldn't have gotten to the point it was. I probably should have played Ajax for this one. But I wasn't really paying attention to the type of missions that came up, because I didn't really have an identifier for the missions I was going to be doing that I could see. But the lack of cover, the lack of coverability, the lack of defensive maneuvers is actually a thing that makes me kind of cringe at how this game is going to work out, because there are kind of like defense modes where you have to stand there and like kind of just fight off waves of monsters, but you can't really do much in a way of defending because you don't have the movement ability of, say, Warframe, and you don't have the ability to see cover like in Destiny. So you're kind of just sitting there taking shots. And personally, I feel like that's just a really bad concept of design. Like, even in like Anthem, when we played Anthem, you still had the ability to, you know, move away from cover. You still had the ability to fly and hide and, you know, stuff like that. But movement in this game isn't that great to where you can actually do those things. So and the characters once again still feel very clunky. You see me there trying to jump, the characters still feel very clunky to me. I realized I said I didn't have any cons, but this is turning into a very long con list. But going on to the pros, I do see a lot of longevity in the game when it comes to grinding, which is good because, of course, every game needs their longevity in it. The polarities you can get for your guns or your mods on your guns, it's gonna take a lot of grinding, like I said, unless they're gonna do the pay to win option on that, which feel like that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna make you do pay to win option on the getting your polarities for your mods on weapons that you need or items that you need to make sure they match. And once again, that's fine if that's what they do. I mean, that's their prerogative to do that because they are a free to play game. But a lot of people aren't going to be happy with that. I do see the fun in some of the intercept missions. I did do some of the intercept missions in this one and on the previous beta. I think I got further in the previous beta than I got during this beta. Because I had more time back then, of course. But in the previous beta, I think I got up to the bride. I want to say it was the bride. I'm not sure. It might have been the bride. But yeah, the boss fights are definitely unique in their own sense. They all have their own little flair that you don't see coming half the time. But once you get their mechanics down, you kind of understand how to deal with it. And some people just won't get it, to be honest. They won't get it and they'll die constantly and put your whole mission in jeopardy. It's just ridiculous when that happens. But I see room for improvement. I do see that mode, the interception mode, will be a heavily farmed thing. I'm not sure if they're going to try to gatekeep it behind, keys. Well, I think I did see a key system in there as well. We had an unlimited key for the entire term of the beta. So we might have to farm the ingredients to make keys so we can go to intercepts, so we can farm intercepts for gear. So that seems like the system that might be used in the future of the game. Other than that, I don't have anything else to say that is good or bad about the game, because I feel like if I keep going, we're going to just keep finding more and more cons. And nobody wants to watch a whole con list. The game looks fun. It is a very beautiful game. I'm not going to lie to you. It is an Unreal Engine 5, I believe. It's a very beautiful looking game. You saw the thumbnail, of course. The characters are very well designed. Their assets are, very voluptuous. My wife is in the room. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's been forever, and that's been my take on the first Descendant on the open crossplay beta.